All right, welcome to the mess that I call a garden. This is what I call a back to Eden garden. Looks like crap right now because it is in crappy shape. What is a back to Eden garden? Well, back to Eden garden is where you don't till. Instead, you put wood chips on top of the soil. When you want to plant something, you scrape back the wood chips, plant in the native soil, put the wood chips on top. Why do you do that? Well, it kind of mimics what you see in nature with leaves and the forest floor and that sort of thing. And basically what it does is this material will break down and create some really, really rich topsoil, improving your native soil, which I've seen it definitely does that. Over the years, as I've worked out here, as it's broken down, the stuff underneath looks amazing. I just want to take a moment to say, look at this. Underneath of the wood chips, where I've had them down for several years in places, and keep in mind, it has been so hot, like in the 90s every day for like the last month. There has been no rain. The grass is dead. But look at this composty stuff that I have underneath of my soil, or underneath of my wood chips here, where they've been for years. I mean, it is just fluffy and moist and just really nice, especially compared to the hard compacted clay soil I used to have that is literally right now in the yard is just like cracking and so dry. But so I got a problem, and as you can see, I got areas where there's a lot of grass that's grown in here. One nice thing about wood chips is it should, in theory, prevent as much weed growth as you would have if you had tilled bare soil. But you still do need a weed, and I neglected doing that all last year. Did not touch it at all, and what happens is you get weeds if you don't do anything. I didn't plant any garden last year out here due to personal life stuff going on. Just wasn't able to do it. Wasn't available that time of year when I needed to plant. I was doing other things. My girlfriend was moving in, and we were doing all that. So anyhow, it's turned to crap, and I've got a lot of work to do to get this in shape for this season. So you're going to see me try to clean this place up. A little bit of the lay of the land. You'll see the sides here. I have these 2x6 boards throughout, and they are held in place. They're held in place by these blocks. Got those from Lowe's. You just slot each piece of wood in there, and basically I did that to create an edge where I could weed eat around the outside, separating the wood chips from the lawn. And worked pretty well. What I did was I took these boards, and initially they don't have it anymore, it's kind of weathered, but originally I did like a fire stain on them, burnt the surface of it as a way to kind of semi-stain protect it a little bit without using chemicals. And I did that, and then cleared out here the wood chips and made it a nice flat level line, and then put each board in. If I find the footage, I'll show you here kind of that process of what that looked like when I did that. Clearing out this line here, digging up the mulch, pulling the weeds, putting down the new border here, and this is where I'm at right now. And about ready to start putting down cardboard down here for this end. And we're going to complete this line, go all the way down to about that T-post right there. Just trying to make sure these are about as straight as it can be. The boards are bowed, so it's not perfectly straight, but all right. Now we got all this cardboard laid. All right, so I laid down a whole bunch of cardboard here all along the edge of this side, and I took some old wood chips, just kind of weigh it down a little bit so it wouldn't blow away. All right, so I got this whole line done. All right, now I've got this whole section back here spread up to the edges, nice and decent. And eventually this paper here, once you get first rain, it'll pretty much disintegrate. Won't be there no more. But I sat the boards on to kill the grass on the other side so it doesn't try to grow up through the wood chips. Kind of smothered a little bit. Yeah, that's where I am so far. Same with this cardboard. Cardboard's gonna take longer to break down, but when I weed eat, it'll probably slice it up. The next thing that I did was I put up this fencing. So inside of each one of these is like a little hole where you can put like a little post. I have these little garden post things, which are really weak. As you can see, it's bent and broken. They all did that eventually. Let me see if I can pull this up. Jeez. So you just broke again right there, trying to pull it up. Let's see. You can see this one's still kind of standing. Let's go over here to this one. All right, back here. All right, here's one on the ground. I can pull this one up easier. So basically, this post held up this metal fence. It's, I don't know, maybe 2.5 feet tall. I forget what it is exactly. But that essentially kept out the small critters like rabbits from getting through. I did have it stapled to the boards. Obviously, when the post fell, that fell, and it's turned to crap. Now, above those, and you can see a little remnants of it here, on the tops of these posts, I had fishing line. Why did I have fishing line at the top? Well, that deters deer. They can't see it at night, and they feel it, and it freaks them out. So they're like, oh, I don't want to go over that. Can't tell how high this is, so I'm not going to try to jump it. All right, garden fencing is done. So you can probably see, let me zoom in here, at the bottom there, that fence is to keep the rabbits out, and then above that is fishing line to deter the deer. So basically we've got from the ground up to the top of this is probably about 4 feet, 3 feet, probably about 3 feet. Well, I don't know, I think this thing's 3 feet plus whatever that is, so 3.5 feet. But it's closer together, the wiring on the bottom to prevent little baby bunnies from crawling through and fitting. And then as it gets taller, they get farther apart to prevent the big bunnies from hopping and getting in there. And then the top here is fishing line. Deer cannot see this, and it helps deter them because if they try to walk through here, they'll feel this, it'll freak them out. Or if they even try to jump a little bit, it'll tap them and freak them out. The only true way to keep deer out completely is if you have like a 10-foot fence, because they can jump like 8 feet, but that deters them and hopefully they won't bother anything. So that's what I did. Try to get the small critters and then the deer, keep them out, because I've had problems with all of them in the past in the garden. Well, this fence is 2 seasons old now, and as you see, it's falling apart. I don't even have it on this side of the garden anymore. I already took it out. So I'm gonna take this out. It's just in my way. It's falling apart. I'm gonna take it out. What I'm going to try to do instead is I'm going to try and use T-posts this time and put them like in the main corners, like 10-foot tall T-posts. And the reason why I'm doing that is, as you see, the fence fell apart, but it had help doing that. The deer eventually destroyed it, is the main thing that happened. Although, I mean, you know, it's kind of weak as it is, as I showed you. It's not the sturdiest thing. It's meant to be a deterrent, not super strong. This gate here was my entrance. It's overgrown. But I would pull this in and out of those grooves there and there, just like the wood boards are, lift it up, pull it out, get in and out of the garden, right? Well, I had those posts going all the way up to here and all the way up to here. Those green ones with the metal and then the fishing line. Well, I didn't have anything above this. Deer eventually realized if I jump over this, I can get in. So the last year that I had the garden in here, it worked for about 2-3 months, something like that, 2.5 months, until they realized, wait a second, I can jump in here. Once they did that, then they started going in and out. They hit these posts here, knock the front down, hit this post here, knock the front down. And then once one starts pulling, they all start pulling, and then eventually they just destroyed it, as you see today. So that's not strong enough, it doesn't work. And I need something above this gate. So what my current game plan is this, after I clean up all this mess, is getting 10-foot tall T-posts, much stronger, going in like the major corners and sections, maybe one there, maybe one on either side of the gate, something like that. And they have deer netting, which is really cheap. And I've used it before to, once I started getting in, I had a couple plants, I had it around. I don't even know if it's still survived over here anywhere. It's out here, so here it is. Here's some. I had a plant in here. If you can see this is deer netting. It's cheap, it's like, you know, just like a net. It's all tangled in here, but it's just like a little net material that deters deer, right? And it'll keep the small ones out because they're not big enough to get in. You know, you can't fit a bunny rabbit through that, hopefully. So my thought process is this: get T-posts like these, only taller, get the 10-foot variety, and space them out in the major corners, and then run that throughout the garden. If it breaks, it's easily, cheaply replaceable. A section, I can fix it quickly, easily, inexpensively, and I can get that in tall sheets that go up. So say if I put the 10-foot T-post 2 feet in the ground, it leaves me 8 foot. So I still got 8 foot that I can put that, and hopefully they won't try to jump over that 8 foot. Hopefully that 8 foot will be enough to deter them, to be determined. But that's kind of what I'm thinking to do next. And I need to do something else with this entrance. I'm not entirely sure yet. I've thought about maybe like building like a frame around it or something and making more of a door, or I don't know, or do like a kind of like a screen door with a netting or something. I don't know. We'll see. I'll figure something out. But that's my process at this point, what I'm thinking about doing in this garden. So yeah, most of the stuff in here is no longer growing other than the, well, grass and weeds. This is an apple tree that they have mutilated for multiple years now as they've gotten in here. It's just like this sideways stick, but it's starting to sprout and come to life this spring. So that's promising and that's good to see. It's still coming to life, so I'm going to continue to try to protect it and hopefully it'll come back. I had another one, I don't even know where the trunk is anymore. I think I tore it out. I think it's probably right around here. Another apple tree. It's completely dead. They killed it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here's part of it. This is where it was. So I had this like wrapped around it, this material here to like protect the young bark, the lower part of the tree from sun scald, because I had some issues with that. I think that's what it's called, sun scald, where it like cracks the thin bark from the bright sun hitting it. This one over here is, this one over here is a plum tree. It grew nothing last year, so I think it's dead. So I'm probably gonna pull that out. You notice this is not in the garden. I never brought the wood chips back far enough to cover this. I was always planning on bringing it back to this point, but since this is dead now, I might not need to. Another thing I wanna do is get more fruit trees in here once I clean this crap out and am able to protect them. Need to get some fruit trees out here. So get them growing. And I'd like to get some, you know, grapevines, things like that. I had some growing in here. I don't even know if it still survived because all this other crap grew throughout in here as well. I don't know, I got all kinds of crap growing in here. They were going to grow up this trellis, but yeah, crap took over. So anyways, I need to basically fix all of this mess and start all over again with pretty much everything but that apple tree. These cages that I built here on these cattle panels strapped to T-posts. You see, you got one back there, one here. This one I like better, but I think it needs to be a little bit wider, like a ½ a foot wider. So I may take this out and re-center it. This one back here, I feel like it's in the back. I feel like I made it too wide, and this one I feel like I made too narrow. So I want somewhere in between the widths. I feel like is a better fix. So I'll probably have to finagle this one and redo that one to be like it and make them kind of line up into one tunnel instead of being janky like they are right now. This one's more center with the garden, which is where I want it. This one I put in before I even knew where center would be, so yeah. We'll figure that out. Oh, the other thing I have in here that I'm hoping will survive and I'll be able to keep is I have blueberry bushes. let's see, here we go. This right here is one of my blueberry bushes, and it produces blueberries every year. It survives, it does good. You see it's got like the old growth here is like the darker, and then the newer growth here is this color. So these ones will probably be producing this season, this new growth. And yeah, so that one's growing. I've got a smaller one over here buried in the middle of this mess. I don't know if you can see it, but that's it right here. It's this plant right here is the smaller blueberry bush. They're both the same age. It's just a smaller bush variety. It doesn't get as big. I probably need to fertilize them and pay better attention to them so they can grow better. So I'll do that too. I also had out here, and I think they're all dead and gone, I had an apricot sapling and a sweet cherry sapling that I grew from seed. Started inside from the seed, but I don't see them anymore unless I uncover them. They were around here, but I think they are gone at this point. So I want to salvage the blueberry bushes. If I can find grapevines in there, I'm not seeing them at the moment, so we'll see if something starts sprouting. It looks like grapevine. If not, whatever, screw it. Actually, this right here is my grape. I had a little cage around it right here on this one. This is one of my grapevines. Yeah, just as a sticker. Little butt, just stick me. So yeah, this is my grapevine here. So I do still have that. That gets leaves. I'll keep that one. There's another one, I think, on the other side over there. So yeah, it's going to be a careful operation of trying to salvage a couple of plants and clear the rest of this crap out. While also, I want to save my wood chips so that I can separate them from the soil as best I can, so I can put that on top of the soil and still do the back to Eden garden method. So this is going to be a freaking project, but it needs to be done, and I'm excited about it. Something I've been wanting to do for years. I've never done a full proper garden out here yet, just bits and pieces, and as you see, I've let crap go, and it just needs to be fixed. So, all that said, let's begin. All right, so step one, I think, is to get these posts and the fishing string line and this messed up metal out. Gotta pull that out. Get that out of my way. Might work best if I pull these posts out first. They seem to be sliding out pretty good. So maybe I can do that and pull up the wire. We'll see. The bottoms where they bent is just snapping off because it was already like half snapped anyways. Stuff for the dump. I want to say these were, how tall were these? Probably a 6-footer. If I had to guess. That's what these were. This is like the one post is still standing over here. Trying to make sure to grab the fishing line where I'm able to find it. Some of it's been broken and it's hard to tell where in the world it even is at this point. It's got a little water in there. Nice and gross. This was not all one panel to begin with. And you see over here where I twisted them together to make these panels line up as one long fence. But I'm not going to take the time clipping that. we're trying to unwind that. I'm just gonna try to roll it up in one roll if I can. Get these things out of the way. I actually might see if I can take this to a scrap metal place. They'll pay me for it in metal. All right, last little fold here. And we got ourselves a rectangle of bent out of crap wire. Look at that mess. Like I said, these things are flimsy, so it don't take much to snap them. Just snap a couple of these that didn't snap and make it fit in the truck. Honestly, there's probably about 2 of them I probably could have reused. I don't know, they're pretty bent though. I got a bunch of others in the building that aren't bent, so. And I intentionally did this setup not knowing how long it would last. I knew it was fragile, so it was a test. And sometimes you just gotta test and learn and see what works and what doesn't work. So this one, like I said, worked for a few months and then it didn't work anymore. So if I take this somewhere to try to scrap the metal, this stuff's not heavy duty, it's really thin and light. Probably only get like, what, 5 cents off of it or something tiny, but I don't know if it'd be worth the drive or not, but at least I'd be recycling it, so maybe I'll do that. All right, the next step is gonna be taking these boards out along the front because I want to be able to get the tractor in. Yes, I said tractor. Typically you don't use a tractor for back to Eden method, but as you can see I have a mess. I need to clean my slate. I'm hoping I can use the box blade to try to pull up the roots of this crap and scrape the wood chips away into piles, and maybe section by section yank the weeds out, burn them in a burn pile, and then sift through and get the wood chips separated from that so that I can put that back on my native soil. Whatever doesn't come out with the box blade, I'll have to pull out by hand or hoe it out or something. A lot better than manually plucking weed by weed by weed, root by root, as I have done in the past. That takes forever. And yeah, moral of the story is I need to, this time, make sure I keep up with it and don't let it get to this point. That's the moral of the story. Some stuff that falls right out, I might want to just go ahead and take to my burn pile. I'm going to be burning a lot of crap. This is where it'd probably be cool if I had chickens, because they can go and like scratch through and tear the stuff up and make it into compost, but I don't have chickens, so. Excuse me, sir. I need to get where you are. But see, I can just pull it out like that, but it's going to take forever to do section by section like that. And I don't know, we'll see if the tractor helps. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'll do whatever works. The other thing I'm thinking I might could do is while I have these out, maybe run them through the torch again and kind of re-burn stain this wood, make it look a little prettier before I put it back in. I'm not saying I will, not saying I won't, but it's an idea. I'm hoping to do that, but I might not have time, because there's a lot that needs to be done, and it's almost planting time, so oh boy. this one's in there good. You know, I probably could get some scrap price for this too. Probably should, because this thing's a mess. Hopefully these will dry out some, so when I burn them, they'll burn better. Get in contact with the wood chip keeps them wet on that side. We shall see. Ooh, this one's got, look at that, that's got moss growing on this one. Huh. So look at that moss growing on this one. Yeah, isn't that something? Alright, so it's gonna be dark soon. I'm not gonna be doing much else tonight, but let's go ahead and test the section with the tractor here. Then we'll take the box blade on the edge here, drive the tractor up here, put the box blade down, and start pushing it and see what happens. This will be my first experimental test of this method. All right, I'm gonna put my camera down and let you guys watch what I do. Let me go get the tractor. All right, let's take a look. So here's what it did, and it appears to have done a pretty good job of what I was wanting it to do. This stuff here, what's left, I should just be able to pull that onion grass in this case right out. It's nice. And that's the other thing about wood chips. It keeps the soil so moist. You don't have to water as much. Love that. Yeah, this stuff here, what's remaining should just pull right out, which a lot of my problem is onion grass, and I forget the name of it, but they kind of have little roots, and if you leave one piece of root, they spread out everywhere. And then this other kind of weed that leaves like these little pumpkin looking seeds, I call it, my kids call them. But yeah, see, got earthworms and all kinds of good organic life in here. It's cool. Oh, thanks to the wood chips. But yeah, so honestly, I wonder if once I scrape this, if I ought to put some kind of covering over it. I don't have enough cardboard to do the whole garden, well, nor do I have anything else, but I do have contractor's paper I can start with, because that'll help prevent a lot of the crap from coming back. Probably would be a good idea to go ahead and get some more carpenter's paper and just roll it out and get a good covering. So that'll break down over time, just like cardboard does. It'll break down quicker than cardboard, but it's cheaper, and like I said, I don't have a whole lot of cardboard sitting around. This thing, this is the other kind of style. Now, whatever this crap is, this stuff just like comes up everywhere. You miss one little root and it's forever in there. So now my next question was this. The stuff that I raked up, how do I best sift through this? All right, so I just got another idea as it's getting darker. And I'm looking at this stuff. And the stuff that I just pulled with the box blade is so mixed in with all this growth and seed heads and everything else. Here's a seed right here. It is going to be impossible to separate that from the wood chips. I mean, so I think what I'm going to have to do is this. I need to work smarter, not harder. So I think what I'll do is I'll break all this crap up, disturb all this stuff, scrape it back. All right? Do what I was planning on doing. Mulch it up, pull out the big stuff that I can pull out. So that basically I have like a nice composting mix, right? So it's smaller stuff that's mixed in. It's not, you know, the big pieces, big clumps. And get the big sticks out, burn them, all that, like I was planning on doing. However, difference this time being, once I break all that down, mix it up, take the tractor and smooth all this out. Maybe what I need to do is go ahead and take my blueberry plants out, put them in a pot temporarily or something to save them, so I can clear this out more easily. Get rid of the arches, that sort of thing. And then once I spread that out, this is obviously going to germinate like crazy. So I think maybe I'll do some research. Maybe I'll get some like the gardening fabric and put a bunch of that across the whole garden on top of that to keep it from germinating. And my hope is the heat and the moisture, it'll germinate and kill off all those weed seeds that'll be in there while it's under the landscaping fabric. I need to research to make sure it does that. I know it'll do that for like tarps and things, but I feel like landscaping fabric will be easier to work with and cheaper theoretically. And my thought process is for this growing season, I can start my seeds off like I've done in the past in little pots and put them in the ground and just cut a little hole in the fabric where I want to plant. Again, hopefully the weeds will try to grow and germinate under the material. They'll die because they don't get the sunlight they need, and that'll kill all the weed seeds in the seed bank that's in this stuff. Then what I can do is, if I'm able to get more wood chips this summer, because I obviously need more, this stuff's really breaking down and becoming more composty, which is great, is maybe put over top of and around my garden, on top of the fabric, put the fresh new wood chips. And then maybe next year, maybe end of season, I'm not sure, kind of pull it back and then just pull the fabric out. Because the fabric's kind of a pain in the butt, in my opinion, if you leave it there forever. Because then every time you want to plant, you have to cut a hole through it, and then eventually be this thing full of holes, and it doesn't serve its purpose anymore, which I can continue to do for a while. I've done it in the past, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to play this by ear. But at the moment, since that's so mixed up with seeds and all kinds of crap, I'll try to get the big stuff out, burn it as I do section by section, but there's no way that that's not going to germinate and be a mess for me to deal with. So I need to try to be smarter and work smarter, not harder. So I think the best method, get this as free as I can, break it up, spread it out evenly, be a nice composty layer, and then put the fabric on top of it. So anything that germinates, hopefully it'll stop it from growing into weeds, breaking through that fabric and looking like this. So try that. That's my thought at the moment. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and burn some of the stuff that I pulled out tonight. And that's a wrap on my first day of progress on restoring my Back to Eden garden. Hope you follow, give it a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.